Live right here on this Monday on the early line. Now it is conference championship week everywhere at the D1 level in men's college basketball. Regular season last week, regular season finales across the sport this weekend, despite some conference tournaments already underway. 4 spots have been booked to the NCAA tournament at this moment. 2 more on the line tonight. In the Sun Belt Conference championship game, it is James Madison and Arkansas State. A SoCon showdown with a spot in the big dance on the line. The 1 seed in the tournament, Samford takes on East Tennessee State. Everything comes down to the wire on this Monday. Also some semifinal action, including in the West Coast Conference WCC. Gonzaga takes on San Francisco. They're an 8.5-point favorite. St. Mary's lays 9.5 against Santa Clara. With how the bracket works in the WCC, this was the expected outcome. Showdowns tonight out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and we got 2 good games out there, too, which will be really exciting to watch it play out. But this is, again, what I like. At least the West Coast Conference, unlike a lot of conferences, and again, they give buys and sometimes double buys, really reward your top 2 teams for a great performance in the regular season. Because also, if you do have those 2 top teams, they were the best teams during the regular season. Wouldn't we love to see them matched up in the final once again? It looks like we are on a collision course to do that. And I would be surprised, Ben, if both of those teams, St. Mary's and Gonzaga, don't wind up in the WCC final.
It is really interesting because how the bracket works, Gonzaga's had a long layoff. Their regular season finale was last Saturday night in Moraga against St. Mary's. The Zags won outright as a 3.5-point dog, make that 8 straight. They also played USF inside the Chase Center, technically a semi-away or a neutral floor game, but 2 quad 1 wins for the Zags, bolstering that NCAA tournament resume. Gonzaga will go dancing once again. They lay 8.5 tonight against the Dons of San Francisco, a very stout team in WCC action so far this season. St. Mary's laying 9.5 against Santa Clara. The Gales won the regular season crown in the WCC. Now, Gonzaga won 8 straight to end out the regular season, over in 5 of those 8 games, including over 153 against the Dons of San Francisco just about a week and a half ago. Gonzaga has been a very stout team here, DRS, down the stretch, but I wonder how much the age-old rest versus rust debate nips at the heels of the Zags, maybe a slow start tonight against the Dons.
Yeah, it could happen there. And also looking forward to the tournament itself, right? This is actually kind of nice because both of these teams, the top 2 seeds in the West Coast Conference, haven't played yet. So if they pick up victories, they won't go into that final game. It's like, oh, we're a little bit rusty. You'd have played a game on that neutral court, then you can match up against each other. But you do bring up a great question here because it's not exactly the rust that you worry about. It's the team that maybe is rolling and has played a couple games before they actually meet you in that same building here. That's what's interesting because if you had a West Coast Conference tournament, Ben, that said, okay, lower level teams, you play your home gyms, then we'll meet in Vegas for like the semifinals here and into the finals. That's not the case. So you have teams that in the hotel, in that routine, practice at a certain amount of day, film at a certain amount of day, work out at this time, then play, and they've done well. They're used to that routine. So you're right. If you're looking to try to say to yourself, is there going to be upset in the making of the teams looking to try to knock off St. Mary's and also Gonzaga? That's not the one I want to look for. I want to look for the first half here because forget about the tired legs. You should have a little bit of an advantage of playing those games in that gym already. So who cares about what happens in the second half? Quite frankly, Ben, if those teams aren't winning at the half or covering at the half, they're probably not going to win or cover that game. Take those teams if you think there's going to be an upset in the West Coast Conference in the first half of this game tonight.
136.5, by the way, the total for the Gales against Santa Clara. St. Mary's, 5th slowest tempo in all of college basketball. Santa Clara, though, on the other side, 3rd fastest tempo out of the WCC. Again, Gonzaga has started to stack it up a little bit in terms of what their offense is capable of. I would look at a team total, perhaps, for the Zags tonight against the Dons of San Francisco. 8.5-point spread, 11:30 p.m. Eastern time tip out in Las Vegas. 148.5 is that over-under. That is semifinal action, setting up a final later this week in the WCC tournament out in Vegas. 2 spots for the big dance on the line and at stake tonight. James Madison was one of the stories of the early going of this college basketball season. Opening night of the year in East Lansing against Michigan State, who was ranked 4th in the preseason AP Top 25. The Dukes upset the Spartans outright inside the Breslin Center. And despite all of that, in 2 quad 1 games, the JMU won one of those 2. The metrics are not all that favorable for James Madison for an at-large opportunity, looking for the auto bid tonight with a victory in the Sun Belt Conference Championship game against Arkansas State. Laying 4.5. That is what JMU is doing against Arkansas State. DRS for the belt tonight in the Sun Belt. Who goes home a champion?
We're expecting points tonight. Should be a great game. You take a look at JMU on defense in the conference, number 2 overall in efficiency. You take a look at their offense, number 2 overall in efficiency. This is a well-rounded team. But here's what makes it interesting here. Arkansas State comes into the game. There are 14 teams in the Sun Belt. They're 12th in efficiency on defense. So right away, that doesn't stack up all that well. The one interesting caveat here to Arkansas State's defense is they're worst in conference play at defending the three-point line, giving up 37% from three-point range. But they're number 1 in conference play at chasing you off of the three-point line. So if we're talking about Arkansas State here, wanting to hang around and possibly punching their ticket into March Madness with that automatic bid, they're number 1 in conference play at offensive efficiency, which means they love the three-point shot. And I just told you, Ben, 14 teams in conference play. 10th in conference play at chasing you off of the line is JMU. Number 1 in conference play at volume from the three-point line is Arkansas State. You know I love to fall in love with stuff like that. Even though you have a great basketball team with JMU, they should win in advance. But I got to tell you, on a neutral site here, I'm going to take this. I'll take the 6 points because the three-point shot is the ultimate equalizer. One team shoots it well. The other team will let you shoot it. I'm going to live and die with Arkansas State from the three-point line.
When you look at JMU, line open at 4.5, down 5.5 in favor of the Dukes. That total 153.5. James Madison did win against the Red Wolves in a road game at Arkansas State just about a month ago. They laid 4.5 in that game. They only won by 4. JMU as a single-digit favorite in Sun Belt action 6 times so far this season. 4-2 straight up. 3-3 against the spread. Can Samford bring it home tonight in the SoCon? The number 1 seed in the conference tournament, looking for a spot in the big dance. A 10.5-point favorite against the 7 seed East Tennessee State. The over-under 149 and a hook.
Not really too much of a favorite for me here, or should I say a side that I like here. Minus 10.5, we're taking a look at a better basketball team, no doubt. But by the way, East Tennessee State last week cashed in a team total for me, Ben. So sometimes you try to say, hey, be good. Can they do it one more time? But I think the numbers go in one direction. They should win this game. But if I'm looking at a game where I wanted to match it up like Arkansas State, I have a side that I like taking the points here. I don't have it in this one here. So good luck in this game to whoever's wagering on that one. But for me, looking at the numbers, it's not beneficial for me to take the dog in this game and or the favorite. So I'll sit that one out and see who punches what.
So far in the SoCon tournament, Samford has won and covered as a single-digit favorite in both, over in both. We got a little bit of tempo out of East Tennessee State, over in 6 of their last 7. They've won 5 straight. They have covered in every one of those victories. On the women's side, Big East tournament title between UConn and Georgetown. Yesterday, UConn held Marquette to 29 points to get to the conference tournament title game. We know about Gino Auriemma's Huskies, but if you allow me for just a moment, Georgetown lost their head coach, passing away from cancer before the season got started in October. Tasha Butts. Georgetown was picked 10th out of 11 teams in the Big East before the season got underway. They are into the conference championship game. It is a great story for the Hoyas. No odds out just yet for this matchup. Connecticut is going to be a hefty favorite. They have been dominant this year, but we celebrate these moments in the month of March. Prop perspective for this Monday with Tom Vecchio up next.